Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome the arrival of our guest of honor, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Colonel retired Kembo Mohadi. So you are welcome. Might I ask that we remain standing for the singing of the national anthem? These are the young men and young ladies from Founders High.
Man. I'm steady now.
Thank you. Good morning. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, through your Son, Jesus Christ, we come to you this morning to thank you for the gift of life, to thank you for the opportunity to meet, to discuss the protection of children in Zimbabwe and within the region. This is an important occasion that you've provided for us. We need you to bless this conference and the deliberations that are going to happen this morning as we see a launch of strategic documents that will guide us until 2030. We thank you for safely bringing our guest of honor, and we ask you to be with him, to be with us as we listen to his presentation and launch. We thank you for providing this space to glorify your name. Your name is important. You are the creator of all creatures, including human beings, and we thank you for that. Be with us throughout until the end. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, amen.
Thank you indeed, Reverend Nyanete, there with the word of prayer. Can I ask that we all sit? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fantastic 3 days, leading us to today, which is day number 4 of the National Child Protection Conference. There has been incredible and robust debate, and I can promise you, Honorable Vice President, there's been a lot that has been spoken about. And one of the key takeaway has been that child protection remains everyone's responsibility, and we all have a part to play. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am not riding by myself. Today I have a co-MC. I feel very honored because he is a permanent secretary, and I have been bragging the last 3 days that I am a director. Just maybe, because he is now by my side, this might just mean an elevation for me. Please welcome Secretary Nyon.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, my co-director of ceremonies, Mr. Butler Nepure. I must say, when I met him, I'd never met him physically. The first thing I said, I didn't realize you were this tall. Because when he's reading the news, he doesn't look that tall. Ndimacheloni. Let me teach you. I will say Ndimacheloni, then you say Abodi. Right? Then after that, I'll count to 3, and the men will say Nda. And the ladies shall say Ah. All right? It's a new way of greeting. Ndimacheloni. 1, 2, 3, Nda. We have just greeted the Vice President in one of the many languages that he speaks. Honorable Vice President, it is my honor to MC this session of this event. Allow me to establish the protocols. Our guest of honor, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Colonel Retired Dr. KCD Mohadi, Honorable Minister of State for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable J. Mukwanda Ncube, the Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable Edgar Moyo, and other honorable ministers that may be present, Deputy Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Mazungunye, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable Sanyatwe, Deputy Minister of ICTs, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Deputy D. Puti, and other Deputy Ministers here present. The Deputy Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Reverend Ramasani, political members here present, the political leadership of the party in Bulawayo, Permanent Secretary in the Vice President's office, Honorable KCT Mohammed's office, Dr. B. Dube, Permanent Secretary for Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, represented by the Acting Chief Director, Mr. T. Zimunga, Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs and International Trade, represented by Ambassador R.N. Chikawa, the Registrar General of Zimbabwe, Mr. H.T. Machiri, Zimbabwe Human Rights Commissioner Dr. Nenga, and Commissioner Mrs. Sibuta. UNICEF representative Mrs. Ikole, Chargé d'Affaires for the Embassy of Sweden, Mr. D. Diaby, members of JOC, senior government officials, UN agencies, civil society, private sector representatives, traditional leaders, members of media, the children, our young people, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning. We will begin our proceedings with a word of welcome from the Honorable Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable J. Mukwanda Ngcuve. Honorable Minister, may you welcome us to this, the city of kings and queens. Thank you.
Ngiyabonga PS. A very good morning to us all. Good morning. Thank you. Allow me to recognize the presence of the following: the Directors of Ceremonies, our guest of honor, the Vice President of the Second Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Dr. KCD Mohadi. We do recognize you, sir. The Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, the PP members here present, Honorable Ministers, the Deputy Ministers here present, Permanent Secretaries, the UNICEF representative to Zimbabwe, representatives of the Government of Sweden, representatives of United Nations agencies, members of the diplomatic corps, members of parliament here present, the mayor of the city of Bulawayo and councillors, heads of government ministries, departments, and agencies, representatives of Zimbabwe Republic Police and the judiciary, service chiefs, traditional leaders, representatives of development partners, representatives of civil society organizations and faith-based organizations, representatives of the private sector, representatives of academia and research institutions, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, not forgetting our media houses. A good morning to you all once again. It is both a great privilege and an honor to stand before you today on behalf of the people of Bulawayo Metropolitan Province and the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe to warmly welcome you to the city of kings and queens for this important National Child Protection Conference. To all our distinguished guests who have traveled from across Zimbabwe and beyond our borders. We extend our heartfelt appreciation for choosing to be with us. We hope that during your stay, you will experience the renowned warmth, hospitality, rich cultural heritage, and resilience that Bulawayo is known for. We trust that your visit will be productive, memorable, and enjoyable, and that you will take time to experience the unique beauty and vibrance of our province. Your presence here is a clear demonstration of our shared commitment to safeguarding the rights, dignity, and well-being of every child in Zimbabwe. It also reflects our collective resolve to realize the vision of the Second Republic under the visionary leadership of His Excellency, President Dr. Emmerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, whose government continues to prioritize inclusive development, social protection, and the welfare of vulnerable members of our society. Allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Ministry of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, in partnership with UNICEF Zimbabwe and the government of Sweden, for organizing this significant conference. Today's gathering is particularly historic as it marks the launch of two landmark policy instruments: the National Action Plan for Children 2026 to 2030 and the National Child Online Protection Policy. These frameworks reaffirm Zimbabwe's unwavering commitment to creating an environment where every child is protected, nurtured, and empowered to realize their full potential. The challenges facing children today are increasingly complex. They include coordinated and sustainable responses. A fragmented or business as usual approach can no longer adequately address these evolving risks. As government, we remain committed to strengthening integrated child protection systems through a whole of government and whole of society approach. Protecting children is not solely the responsibility of one ministry or institution. It is a shared responsibility that calls upon families, communities, schools, religious institutions, development partners, the private sector, and every citizen to play their part. Here in Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, we are proud to support national efforts to protect vulnerable children. In response to the increasing number of returning migrants, government, together with its partners, has established facilities to receive, protect, and facilitate the safe reintegration of vulnerable children and families. These initiatives reflect our commitment to ensuring that no child is left behind, regardless of their circumstances. As we gather over the course of this conference, let us engage openly, exchange knowledge, share best practices, and develop practical solutions that will strengthen our child protection systems. Let us ensure that the policies we launch today translate into meaningful action and measurable improvements in the livelihoods, in the lives of Zimbabwean children. Ladies and gentlemen, children are our nation's greatest asset. The decisions we make today will shape not only their future, but also the future prosperity, peace, and development of Zimbabwe. Let this conference renew our determination to build the communities where every child is safe, protected, valued, and given every opportunity to thrive. Once again, on behalf of the people of Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, I warmly welcome you all. May your deliberations be fruitful, your discussions enriching, and your resolutions impactful. We are honored to host you and wish you a pleasant stay in our beautiful city of kings and queens. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. May we give another round of applause? A society that cannot protect the most vulnerable, the weakest, is a society that fails, and the children are our most vulnerable and our weakest. Thank you for your words of welcome and your words of leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Vice President, sir, the next session, we will have a number of our ministers saying a few remarks. Let me say, Honorable Ministers, that I've been given special powers today by the Honorable Vice President to ensure that you only speak for 3 minutes. And he says to me, if they exceed 3 minutes, you start dancing so that they see. So you don't want me dancing in front of the podium. So, which is a way of saying the Vice President, as we know. You know, he flew from Mutoko yesterday, where there was a big function. And he came, spent the night here, he's here today, he's flying somewhere for another very big function. So it's my roundabout way of saying we are pressed for time, and I will appreciate it if we stick to the shortest possible remarks. We know you are key stakeholders in this area where we all need to put our heads together to help the vulnerable, to help our children, to help our future, so that the generations that come will recognize us through what they will achieve after us. To kickstart this session will be the Honorable Deputy Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable C. Sanyatwe, to come to the podium. May we encourage you, please. We can do better than that.
Good morning to you all. Director of Ceremonies, our guest of honor, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Colonel Retired KCD Mohadi, Honorable Minister of State for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable J. Ncube, Honorable Minister of Public Service and Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable E. Moyo, and other ministers and deputy ministers here present, and all protocols observed. It is my honor and privilege to give remarks at this important National Protection Conference, which brings together key stakeholders committed by advancing the rights, safety, and well-being of every child. Let me begin by commending the organizers for convening this important platform, which provides us with an invaluable opportunity to reflect our collective progress, share experiences, and strengthen partnerships towards a more protective environment for all children. Child protection is a shared national responsibility that requires coordinated action across government institutions, development partners, communities, and families. Every child deserves to grow up in an environment that is safe, nurturing, and protective of their rights and dignity. Distinguished participants, the Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage plays a critical role in national child protection system through the Civil Registry Department, whose mandates includes the registration of birth, death, national identity, marriages, among others. Birth registration is far more than an administrative process. It is the legal recognition of a child's existence before the state and serves as the foundation for the enjoyment of many fundamental rights. A registered child is better protected from exploitation, trafficking, child marriage, illegal adoption, and other forms of abuse. Birth registration facilitates access to education, health care, social protection programs, and in later years, enables individuals to obtain national identity documents, participate in civic process, and fully contribute to national development. It is therefore one of the most effective tools for safeguarding children's rights and ensuring that no child is left behind. Recognizing the importance of universal birth registration, the ministry has intensified efforts to improve access to civil registration services. One of the key strategies has been the decentralization of civil registry services by expanding sub-offices at district level and bringing services closer to communities. The ministry has significantly reduced the distance and cost that families must incur to register birth. This has particularly benefited rural and previously marginalized and hard-to-reach communities. In addition, the ministry is also conducting targeted mobile registration exercise in hard-to-reach communities. Through this outreach initiative, registration teams travel to communities where access to permanent registry offices is limited, ensuring that children who might otherwise remain invisible within the legal system are registered and protected. These interventions demonstrate the government's commitment to ensuring that every child, regardless of geological location or socio-economic circumstances, enjoys the right to legal identity from birth. Ladies and gentlemen, some of these achievements have been made possible through collaboration with our partners. In this regard, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to UNICEF for its unwavering support to the ministry, particularly through the Civil Registry Department. UNICEF has been a valued partner in strengthening birth registration systems through financial and technical support. This partnership has contributed significantly to improve access to civil registration services and advancing the protection of child's rights. We value this continued collaboration and look forward to further strengthening our partnership as we work towards achieving universal birth registration. As the Ministry of Home Affairs, we reaffirm our commitment to building a Zimbabwe where every child is recognized, counted, and protected. Siyabonga. I thank you.
Ezandleni. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. But I must, as you sit, I want to report the Registrar General for mistreating me. A few years ago, I lost my metal ID. Emphasis is on metal. When I went to get a new ID, Vamachiri gave me a plastic one, which I appreciate. It's got biometrics and so forth and so on. And he refused to give me a metal one as a souvenir. So today I'm reporting you to the boss, who is my boss and your boss, to please give me my metal ID. Thank you, Honorable Deputy. And we thank the Ministry, Honorable Vice President. Last year, the Minister of State had an exercise where we said, let's go to all schools and document every child who doesn't have a birth certificate. And we came up with a very fierce-looking figure of 6,000 kids between grade 1 and grade 6. And then we appealed to the Minister and Deputy Minister as well as the Registrar General, and they did have a special program across Bulawayo. We will do it again so that we stay ahead of the curve. As the Honorable Minister said, documentation is a child's basic rights. Allow me, Honorable Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Honorable Deputy Minister of ICT, Courier, and Postal Services to also come in and present his remarks. Can we encourage him? Ezandleni.
The two directors of ceremonies, Mr. Nepure, our esteemed guest of honor, Colonel Retired Honorable Dr. KCD Mohadi, the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Guest of honor, sir, kindly allow me to ride on protocols already observed by the host minister for this province. Honorable Vice President, sir, it is fitting that we gather here in Bulawayo at the National Child Protection Conference to witness the official launch of two landmark instruments that will shape the well-being of Zimbabwe's children for the next 5 years. The National Action Plan for Children, number 4, running from 2026 to 2030, and the Zimbabwe National Child Online Protection Policy, running for the same duration. Zimbabwe has made remarkable progress in expanding access to information and communication technologies. National internet penetration rate now stands at 87.39%, while broadband penetration rate is at 85.83%, and mobile penetration rate has reached 108.53%. The mobile technology as the primary gateway to connectivity for the majority of our citizens. This digital transformation agenda is a source of great pride for the nation, since it is going to open doors to education, to innovation, financial inclusion, and opportunities that were unimaginable a generation ago. Our children are growing up as digital natives, learning, playing, and reaching out to the world through devices that fit in their palm of the hand, yet carry within them the weight of an entire civilization and knowledge. Honorable guest of honor, sir, we would be failing if, in our duty, we celebrated this progress without confronting its shadow side. The very platforms that open the world to our children are equally capable of exposing them to exploitation, abuse, radicalization, and harm. These risks, neither marginal are they, nor are they hypothetical, but documented, escalating, and demanding urgent collective action. Some of the risks include exposure to cyberbullying, online grooming, sexual exploitation and abuse, harmful content, and the misuse of their personal data. Globally, hundreds of millions of children fall victim to online sexual abuse and exploitation each year. Zimbabwe is not immune to this reality, and the absence, until now, of a dedicated national policy to guide our response to contemporary child online-related cyber issues has left a critical gap in our protective architecture for children. Central policy is one non-negotiable conviction that no one and no child has to navigate a digital environment that was not designed with their safety in mind. Safety by design, safety by default, and the best interests of the child. These are not aspirations. They are obligations, Honorable Guest of Honor. It affirms that protecting our children online is not the task of government alone, but a shared responsibility that binds parents, guardians, educators, technology companies, internet service providers, law enforcement agencies, civil society, and children themselves into a single chain of accountability. As we launch this policy, Honorable Vice President, the Ministry reaffirms its commitment to translating its provisions into concrete action. We will continue to strengthen the legal environment, particularly around Cyber and Data Protection Act. All members of the Zimbabwe Child Online Protection Committee need to ensure that this policy is implemented, monitored, and adopted as a digital landscape that continues to evolve. On behalf of the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services, which has been privileged to lead this development of Zimbabwe's National Child Online Protection Policy, I wish to extend our deepest gratitude to you, Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Colonel Retired Honorable Dr. KCD Mohadi, ministries, departments and agencies, UNICEF, the government of Sweden, the Zimbabwe Child Online Protection Committee, civil society organizations, the academia, and the private sector, most importantly, the children across the country whose voices and lives they experienced shaped this policy from the outset. Their courage is unwavering in sharing their experiences. That has given this document its authenticity and the need to develop this policy. May God bless our children and may God bless Zimbabwe. I thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. May we give him another round of applause as he takes his seat. In the program today, there will also be a launch jointly with the National Action Plan. There will be a launch of the National Child Online Protection Policy. And I must say, Honorable Vice President and Honorable Deputy Minister, that Zimbabwe has been a leader in this area of the child lines, the GBV hotlines, and long may it continue that we provide these facilities for the protection of the vulnerable. In introducing the next speaker, who is my boss, I want to let him in on a secret that all juniors have. We feel as if when we do our jobs, who is always unfazed when I call him with all manner of problems, and for which we are always grateful, the Reverend Damasani. May we encourage him, please?
Director of Ceremonies, P.S. Nyoni, the Honorable Vice President, Dr. KCD Mohadi, the Honorable E. Moya, Minister of the Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable J. Ngube, Minister for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, the head of UNICEF and members of the UN family here present, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. Today marks more than the launch of the National Action Plan for Children, but also the core launch of the Child Online Protection, which is a bold reaffirmation of Zimbabwe's commitment to place the child at the heart of our development agenda. The future of our nation cannot be separated from the well-being, protection, and growth of its youngest citizens. Therefore, investing in children is not merely a social duty, but it is a strategic investment in human capital, social cohesion, and sustainable development. Investing in children is therefore not an option, but an obligation and an imperative. There is no Vision 2030 without safe children. The National Action Plan for Children provides a comprehensive roadmap for translating our constitutional obligations, our national priorities, and international commitments into coordinated and measurable outcomes. The plan will enable us as a collective to ensure our children have the opportunity to thrive and realize their full potential. It is important, therefore, that the messages carried by the plan are not just for a single institution, because no single institution can handle it on its own. The complex and interconnected challenges facing children is for a collective. And our success, therefore, will require a whole-of-government and whole-of-society approach characterized by strong coordination, policy coherence, shared accountability, and sustained partnership. It is for this reason that the Office of the President and Cabinet continues to emphasize the importance of effective coordination across all sectors and levels of governance. We as MDAs must work in a complementary manner, while development partners, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, the private sector, and communities align their efforts behind national priorities to achieve agreed results. At the heart of the agenda is the recognition that sustainable social development is best achieved through empowered families and resilient communities. Children develop and thrive within families and communities. Therefore, strengthening community-based systems, promoting local participation, and empowering communities to identify and address challenges affecting children must remain central to the implementation of child protection policies. Community ownership will be critical to ensuring that interventions are responsive, inclusive, and sustainable. It is the village that raises the child. Ilizwe lakhiwa ngabanikazi balo. This approach is particularly important for us in the early childhood development. As we say in the village, umthwentwe uhlaba usamila. Njalo isigogo sigoqwa sisemanzi. Evidence continues to demonstrate that the greatest returns on investment are achieved when countries prioritize the earliest years of life. Children, therefore, require nurturing care, quality health and nutrition services, so that as they grow up, they do not just grow to have aims and objectives and desires that are not easily achievable. When Zimbabwe has made commendable progress in strengthening child welfare and protection systems, we must acknowledge that significant challenges still persist. These include violence against children, child labor, barriers to legal identity, and socio-economic pressures affecting vulnerable households. Addressing these challenges demands both strengthened service delivery and targeted interventions that tackle their root causes at family and community level. Honorable Vice President and guest of honor, it is important that our collective focus must now shift towards positive results for children. We require stronger mechanisms of accountability and enhanced coordination and evidence-based decision-making and efficient utilization of available resources. It will also require greater visibility of investments in children across sectors to ensure that financing is aligned with priorities and delivers measurable outcomes. What will make the difference is our ability to work together in a coordinated and disciplined manner, guided by a shared vision and a common commitment to improve our children. As we celebrate this milestone, let us remember that the true measure of our success will not be the quality of the plan itself, but the tangible improvements we achieve in the lives of children over the next 5 years. Let this launch, therefore, serve as a call to action for all of us to translate commitment into implementation, policy into results, and together, through strong leadership, effective coordination, and empowered communities, we can build a Zimbabwe where every child is protected, nurtured, included, and equipped to contribute meaningfully to national development and the achievement of Vision 2030. Again, Vision 2030 cannot be realized without safety of children. I thank you.
Another round of applause for Reverend Damasani. Placing the child at the heart of Zimbabwe's development agenda. Partners have been an instrumental partner within child protection services and the enhancement of child protection in Zimbabwe. One such partner has been the Embassy of Sweden. Allow me to call upon Mr. Diaby, who's the Charge d'Affaires from the Embassy of Sweden, to give us his remarks. May we give him a round of applause, please.
Our guest of honor, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Colonel Retired Mohadi. Honorable Minister of State for Bulawayo Metropolitan Provinces, Honorable Nkube. Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable Moyo, and other honorable ministers here present today. Deputy Minister of Justice, Parliamentary and Legal Affairs, Honorable Mazungunya. Deputy Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable Sanyatwe. Deputy Minister of Information, Communication, Postal and Courier Service, Honorable Puti. and other deputy ministers here present. Chief Secretary in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Reverend Damasane, Permanent Secretary for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Mr. Nyoni, UNICEF Representative Ekole, senior government officials present here today, civil society organizations, distinguished guests, children and young people. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a privilege to join you today for the official launch of Zimbabwe's National Action Plan for Children 2026 to 2030. I wish to congratulate the government of Zimbabwe on behalf of the government of Sweden for this important milestone and on its continued commitment to advancing the rights of and protection of children. When we gathered at the opening of this national conference earlier this week, I spoke about sustainability and the importance of ensuring that our investments in child protection become part of strong national systems. The discussions throughout this week, including the high-level dialogue on child protection financing, have reinforced the importance of that message. Today, with the official launch of NAP4, Zimbabwe has a national framework through which that ambition can be carried forward. For Sweden, today's launch carries a great deal of importance. For more than 15 years, Sweden has worked side along the government of Zimbabwe and UNICEF to strengthen the country's child protection sector. Our partnership has supported national case management, birth registration, access to child-friendly justice, and professionals responsible for protecting those children. As I noted at the opening of this conference, Sweden's investments were never intended to create parallel structures that depend indefinitely on development partner financing. They were intended to contribute to stronger Zimbabwean systems that could be endured beyond individual project and funding cycles. NAP4 now provides an opportunity to consolidate those investments within a nationally owned framework and advance them. The question of sustainability is particularly significant for Sweden at this moment. As many of you know, Sweden is concluding its bilateral development cooperation with Zimbabwe, and the Embassy of Sweden in Harare will close later this year. This marks the end of a long and valued chapter of our engagement, but far from an end of avenues for cooperation. Sweden will continue to engage through our regional, global, and bilateral channels, including on human rights, gender equality, health, and sustainable development. Our own transition reinforces another point made earlier this week, that true legacy of partnership is not the continuation of donor funding, it is the continuation of results. NAP4 therefore represents more than a new policy framework. It provides an opportunity to bring together the progress made, lessons learned, and investments of so many years and translate them into sustainable programs. Sweden welcomes this plan and its emphasis on strengthening institutions and capacities, and its attention to gender, disabilities, and other forms of exclusion. National systems are only as strong as when they are able to reach the children most at risk of being left behind. Your Excellency, as Sweden reflects on more than 15 years of partnership in Zimbabwe's child protection sector, we do so with gratitude. We appreciate the government of Zimbabwe for the partnership and leadership demonstrated over the years, and we acknowledge UNICEF for its technical leadership and stewardship. And last but not least, we thank civil society, communities, and frontline professionals whose work has translated policy into protection for our children. Sweden is proud to have walked this journey with Zimbabwe. Now, as the next leg on the journey takes flight, we like to reiterate the message which we began this conference with. Child protection is not a cost, but an investment. It makes economic sense, supports responsible governance, and it's the right thing to do. 5 years from now, the success of NAP4 will not be measured only by the commitments contained in the policy document that we launched today. It will be measured by whether a child facing violence actually finds protection, whether that girl at the risk of being married will remain in school, and whether children who are most vulnerable can access support when they really need it. Your Excellency, honorable ministers, Deputy Minister, distinguished guests, Sweden congratulates Zimbabwe on the launch of the National Action Plan for Children. We look forward to seeing its ambition translated into lasting change in the lives of Zimbabwe's children. I thank you.
Another round of applause as he takes his seat. Mr. Diaby, the Charge d'Affaires at the Embassy of Sweden. Child protection is not just a cause, but it is an investment. These have been part of the deliberations that we've had over the last 3 days in making an investment case for child protection. For now, allow me to also welcome to the stage UNICEF Zimbabwe representative, Ms. Etona Ekole, to also share with us her remarks.
Kumbe. Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable Imoyo, other honorable ministers here present, senior government officials here present, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, children and young people, please allow me to write on the protocols already established in the interest of time. And good morning to all of us. Honorable Vice President, sir, it is a great honor for UNICEF to join the government of Zimbabwe, development partners, civil society, the private sector, academia, and most importantly, children and young people, as we celebrate the official launch of the National Action Plan for Children 2026-2030 and the National Child Online Protection Policy. Allow me to congratulate everyone who has contributed to this conference over the past 3 days. All the themes addressed these days have demonstrated the breadth of the challenges we face and the collective determination to address them all. Today's launch is a fitting conclusion to these discussions, and I would like to warmly congratulate the government of Zimbabwe for its leadership in bringing these two important policy frameworks to fruition. They reflect a clear commitment to strengthening the protection of children in a rapidly changing world. And today's launch is much more than about two policy documents alone. It's about setting a shared direction and reaffirming our collective responsibility to ensure that every child grows up safe, protected, and able to realize their full potential. The National Action Plan for Children provides a comprehensive roadmap for strengthening child well-being through stronger child protection services, better access to services and systems, stronger families and communities, protecting children from violence, and the elimination of child labor. We heard a lot about increasing birth registration. The National Child Online Protection Policy also recognizes that children's lives increasingly extend into the digital space. Our responsibility to protect them must extend there as well, while ensuring they continue to benefit from the enormous opportunities that technology provides. One policy strengthens the systems that protect children throughout their lives. The other extends that protection into one of the defining spaces of childhood today, the digital world. And together, they send a clear message. Every child deserves to be safe wherever they are, in the physical world as well as in the digital space. Honorable Vice President, sir, the real measure of success will not be today's launch, but what happens afterwards. These policies must translate into stronger services, better coordination, adequate financing, and tangible results for children and their families across Zimbabwe. They will require continued leadership, sustained investment, and strong partnerships across government, communities, civil society, the private sector, and development partners. And we're talking here a whole of society approach. And UNICEF is proud to have supported the development of these important frameworks. And we remain committed to working alongside the government of Zimbabwe as they move from policy into practice. And allow me to conclude with one simple reflection. Over the past few days, participants have also reminded us that protecting children is not only the right thing to do, it is the smartest investment a country can make. It is an investment in Zimbabwe's human capital. Every dollar invested in preventing violence, strengthening families, and protecting children today reduces far greater social and economic costs tomorrow. When children are safe, healthy, and able to learn, communities become stronger, economies become more productive, and countries are better equipped to prosper. Finally, I'd like to extend our sincere appreciation for the support of the Embassy of Sweden in the child protection sphere. Sweden has been an all-weather partner to the government of Zimbabwe and to UNICEF in the child protection arena. And of course, their departure from Zimbabwe will be a sore loss. However, we are heartened because the systems are in place for sustainability and full ownership by the government of Zimbabwe. And so we thank the government of Zimbabwe, we thank the Embassy of Sweden for their continued support. UNICEF also congratulates the government of Zimbabwe not only on this milestone, but on its prioritization of child protection in government policy, in the prioritization within budgets, and we hope for the continuation of that moving forward as we implement the National Action Plan as well as the policy for online safety. May today's launch not be the end of our conversation, but the beginning of the next phase, turning commitments into action and action into lasting change for every child in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Etona Ekole, UNICEF Zimbabwe representative. Another round of applause for her. So 2 important policy frameworks to be launched today: the National Action Plan for Children for 2026 to 2030, as well as the Zimbabwe National Child Online Protection Policy, showing Zimbabwe's commitment to the protection of children. Our next presentation, may I direct our audience to look at the screens behind me, and of course our high table to look at the screens right in front of you. It will be a virtual key address from Dr. Najat Malamajid, United Nations Special Representative of the Secretary General on Violence Against Children.
Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear colleagues, it's a great pleasure to join you for the official opening of Zimbabwe's National Child Protection Conference. Allow me to warmly congratulate the government of Zimbabwe, and particularly Honorable Minister Edgar Moyo, Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, for his strong leadership in convening this important four-day conference, gathering key stakeholders from across the child protection ecosystem. This conference is timely. It builds on the strong progress and engagement of Zimbabwe to end violence against children. I have had the pleasure of seeing this engagement through the Global Ministerial Conference on Ending Violence Against Children in 2024, as well as in the regional and global meetings of the Pathfinding Global Alliance on Ending Violence Against Children. Zimbabwe is translating its commitment into actions despite persistent and evolving challenges. Global Alliance and beyond, countries are increasingly using investment case studies to demonstrate the economic and social returns of investing in children. I also commend Zimbabwe for bringing together regional experiences from Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Rwanda. Zimbabwe has also already shared practical experiences of cross-sectoral services involving various stakeholders, including communities and children, through the marketplace for knowledge sharing of the Pathfinding Global Alliance. These exchanges demonstrate that every country has solutions to share and something to learn. Indeed, peer exchange and learning, connecting and strengthening cooperation among and within countries are the foundation of the Global Pathfinding Alliance. Ladies and gentlemen, although I cannot be with you in person today, I very much look forward to my visit to Zimbabwe in next November. It will be an opportunity to further strengthen our collaboration in close cooperation with the UN country team to support Zimbabwe's continued leadership within the Global Pathfinding Alliance across Africa and beyond. In the meantime, I wish you fruitful discussion and every success in the implementation of the National Action Plan for Children. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Najat Malamajid, United Nations Special Representatives of the Secretary General on Violence Against Children. Allow me, Honorable Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, to invite to the podium the Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable E. Moyo, to come and make his remarks, and also to invite the guest of honor to address us. Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. Our guest of honor, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Colonel Retired Dr. KCD Mohadi, our Honorable Minister of State for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable J. Ngube, Politburo members here present, Dr. S. Nyoni, Mr. Mashaba, and the Bulawayo ZANU-PF Chair, J.B. Spanda. I want to observe also the deputy ministers in our presence. I see here Honorable Eni Mazungunye, Honorable C. Sanyatwe, Honorable D. Puti, and other ministers, deputy ministers that I might not have seen. I also want to recognize the Deputy Chief Secretary in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Reverend Damasanya, and the peers in Vice President's office, Dr. Dube, and other PSCs present, one of who is one of the masters of ceremony here. I'm told he is the best. I want to also observe senior government officials, some from the Richard Attorney's Office, from Ministry of Health, from Justice, and many other ministries. We value your presence in this conference. I also want to observe the presence of commissioners, Human Rights Commission and other commissions. UNICEF country rep, Ms. Tony Ekole, we recognize you. And Mr. David Diaby from the Embassy of Sweden, your partnership is valued. Delegates from the region, I met one from Zambia yesterday. We also recognize you, and from other countries, if you are available in this conference. Honorable Vice President, I want to begin by acknowledging founders, high school students. I think they presented a beautiful singing of the national anthem. I'm a practicing musician myself, and the pitch, the harmony, and the notation were just out of this world. Thank you very much for that. It is my great honor and privilege to join you all at this National Child Protection Conference. We are grateful to the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Colonel Retired Dr. KCT Mohadi, whose attendance demonstrates the government of Zimbabwe's unwavering commitment to the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of children's rights. We are especially pleased that the Vice President will today officially launch the 2 strategic frameworks that will guide child protection in Zimbabwe over the next 5 years. That is the National Action Plan for Children 4, which runs from 2026 to 2030, and Zimbabwe National Child Online Protection Policy, also running from 2026 to 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Action Plan for Children, which will be officially launched today, provides our national roadmap for improving the well-being of every child in Zimbabwe. The plan aligns with the Constitution of Zimbabwe, Vision 2030, the National Development Strategy 2, Africa's Agenda for Children 2040, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, as well as the Sustainable Development Goals. The National Action Plan for Children 4 is built around 5 strategic pillars: improved access to inclusive basic social services, ending violence against children, family and community capacity strengthening, elimination of child labor, institutional strengthening and capacity strengthening. Together, these pillars promote a holistic approach that ensures children not only survive, but also grow, learn, participate meaningfully in the decisions affecting them, and enjoy their rights in safe, inclusive, and supportive environments. Honorable Vice President, during the past 3 days, delegates discussed critical child protection concerns, including violence against children, child protection financing, data protection and cybersecurity, drug and substance abuse, children on the move, child labor, adolescent pregnancy, disability inclusion, among others, and came up with key recommendations as follows. 1, strengthen institutional capacity to implement laws, policies, and programs that protect children across sectors. 2, prioritize investment in social service workforce. 3, invest in research for evidence generation on emerging child labor concerns in the platform economy in this digital era. Contextualize, number 4, contextualize the definition of child labor and child work to develop homegrown solutions. 5, scale up active birth and death notifications through traditional leaders to increase access to legal identity. 6, enhance parenting programs that promote positive parenting skills to address the challenge of violence against children, drug and substance abuse, among others. 7, integration of traditional and religious leaders as gatekeepers to address harmful practices that perpetuate violence against children. 8, institute care reforms that promote family-based care in line with the provisions of the National Policy for the Care and Protection of Children. 9, prioritize child protection financing through child protection markers in the budget to track child protection-related allocations and expenditures across all sectors. 10, exploring non-traditional financing mechanisms or modalities concerning dwindling official development assistance support. That is considering dwindling official development assistance support. 11, leverage on best practice and experience sharing within the region and at global level. Honorable Vice President, these recommendations are a clarion call to turn promises into practical actions where legislation, policies, programs, and commitments become a lived reality in the day-to-day lives of our children in Zimbabwe. I thank you. May I move on to introduce our guest of honor. The guest of honor today is a natural leader with a pragmatic approach, selfless in nature, humble and approachable. His down-to-earth approach has made him exemplary and a towering leader who easily stands out among many. In a world where arrogance is the hallmark of contemporary leadership, his humility inspires many, not just in Zimbabwe, but across the enlightened world. Ladies and gentlemen, it did not come as a surprise to those who have followed him closely that His Excellency, the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, appointed him as a key member of his cabinet and his deputy, both at party and in government. With rare and invaluable traits such as patriotism, selflessness, humility, and resilience, he is an embodiment of a progressive national leader. His track record during the liberation struggle makes him a hero whose name will remain indelible in Zimbabwean history. He is a living legendary and encyclopedia on the history of the Zimbabwe liberation struggle. The history of Zimbabwe cannot be discussed without the mention of this towering giant who stands shoulders above the rest in the road to independent Zimbabwe. He did his initial military training at Mwembeshi in Zambia before going for further training in the then Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. That was in 1973. From the Crimea Military Academy, he went for specialization under the Soviet Union Secret Service, KGB, at the same time studying political economy science at Moscow University. This is very important for you students who will be writing history. He's going to be in some history books not so long in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor has passionately championed the cause for peace, economic productivity, and nation building. He has remained true to the country's aspiration of attaining Vision 2030 by 2028. Vision 2030 will be achieved in 2028. With this short narrative, it is now my singular honor and privilege to invite the guest of honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Colonel Retired Dr. KCD Mohadi, to address this august gathering. Honorable Vice President, sir.
Pray be seated. Honorable Minister of State of Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Honorable Jay Ngove, our esteemed two Directors of Ceremony, Honorable Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable E. Moyo, and other honorable ministers here present. Deputy Minister of Justice, Parliamentary and Legal Affairs, Honorable Mazungunye, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Comrade Sanyatwe, Deputy Minister of Information, Communication, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Deputy and other Deputy Ministers here present. The Deputy Chief Secretary in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Reverend Damasane, Permanent Secretary for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province, Mr. Nyoni, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Vice President, Honorable KCD Mohadi's office, Dr. B. Dube, Permanent Secretary for Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Mr. P. Kunaka, as represented by the Acting Chief Director, Social Development and Labor Administration, Mr. T. Zimunga. Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs and International Trade, represented by Ambassador R.M. Chikawa. The Registrar General of Zimbabwe, Mr. H.T. Machiri. Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, Commissioner T. Nenga. Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, Commissioner Mrs. Atlas Sputa. UNICEF Representative E.T. Ekole. Charge of the Affairs, Mr. David Yabi, Embassy of Sweden. His Worship, the Mayor of the City of Bulawayo, Mr. Coltrane, as represented. Members of the Joint Operations Command, senior government officials, UN agencies represented, civil society organizations, private sector representatives, traditional and religious leaders, members of the media fraternity, children and young people, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to join you today at the National Child Protection Conference, where we are co-launching the National Action Plan for Children and the National Child Protection Online Policy here in Bulawayo. This momentous occasion reminds us of our collective responsibility to uphold and advance protection, welfare, and rights of every child in Zimbabwe and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand before you, I am proud of the commendable and collective progress that Zimbabwe has made in the child protection sector over the last few years. Despite social economic challenges emanating from climate change and other complexities due to global geopolitical shifts. Distinguished guests, partners, and fellow citizens, today marks a decisive turning point on our nation's commitment to the future of Zimbabwe. As we launch the National Action Plan for Children, POR, we are not merely presenting a document, we are renewing our promise to protect our most vulnerable resource, our children, from abuse and exploitation, and to create an environment where they can develop and contribute meaningfully to the future of our nation. Under Vision 2030, the government of Zimbabwe intends to ensure that every child, regardless of gender, disability, geographical location, or socioeconomic status, has access to basic social services, including education, that equips them with the relevant skills, values, knowledge, and attitudes for personal growth and national development. As you are all aware, Zimbabwe is currently implementing the National Development Strategy number 2, NDS2, 2026 to 2030. The current socio-economic blueprint aimed at attaining a prosperous and an empowered upper middle income society by the year 2030. Within this framework, government poses a strong political declaration towards the promotion and protection of children's rights through legislation, policies, and national action plans aiming at improving child well-being while utilizing its provisions to galvanize the commitment that will be needed to address the various ills facing our children. This has seen a drive towards the amendment of key legislation, such as the Children's Act, Chapter 506, placing emphasis on the family's critical role in the care and protection of children. Additionally, we have reviewed the National Orphan Care Policy of 1999 and formulated the National Policy for the Care and Protection of Children Without Parental Care. This policy is anchored on family strengthening and guides alternative care placement for children without parental care. It further aligns with Article 25 of the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of Children and Article 20 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, ensuring the protection of vulnerable children. Correspondingly, other key legislative measures have been implemented, including amendment to the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act, Chapter 9, 2923, which raises the age of sexual consent from 16 to 18 years, as well as the revision of the Marriage Act, Chapter 517. These legislative changes have strengthened child protection, promoted awareness, established confidential reporting mechanisms, and enforced the stricter penalties for offenders, and provided psychosocial support for survivors and witnesses. Additionally, the introduction of mandatory sentencing guidelines and the Child Justice Bill, which is still under debate, highlights our commitment to ensuring justice for young victims, while the Witness Protection Bill encourages the reporting of abuses without fear of retaliation. Further to the legislative and policy measures, Zimbabwe is now implementing the provisions of the Early Childhood Development Coordinating Framework, which aims to reduce fragmentation in the Early Childhood Development ECD program, for fostering several linkages across education, health, nutrition, child protection, birth registration, and judicial services. By adopting a whole-of-government approach and advocating for sectorial financing, we aim to enhance the effectiveness of our ECD services to improve outcomes for children. To ensure inclusivity, the Persons with Disability Act, Chapter 1701, was recently amended to promote the inclusion of children with disabilities in mainstream schools, supported by assistive technologies and specialized personnel. Accordingly, government remains firmly committed to strengthening Zimbabwe's civil registration and vital statistic systems as a cornerstone in the fulfillment of other rights. As part of decentralization efforts, the government established sub-offices in most districts to ease access to birth registration, offering free birth registration for children under the age of 6, and training traditional leaders to facilitate active notifications of births and deaths under their jurisdictions. Ladies and gentlemen, we acknowledge that birth registration is a far more than an administrative process. It is the first legal recognition of a child's existence and identity. It establishes a child's legal relationship with the state and serves as the gateway to the enjoyment of fundamental rights, including access to education, access to health, social protection, justice, and other essential public services. Without a legal identity, children face an increased risk of exclusion, exploitation, and vulnerability. Ladies and gentlemen, our children have not been spared from the effects of complex, cross-cutting challenges, including sexual, physical, and emotional abuse, child labor, exploitation, and harmful cultural practices. As a pathfinding country to the Global Pathfinding Alliance on Ending Violence Against Children, Zimbabwe has operationalized a robust and sustainable system to eliminate violence against the children as outlined in our global pledge to end violence against the children. In this regard, we have made significant progress in increasing public awareness and fostering community dialogue on the gender, cultural, and social norms that perpetuate violence against the children. This is exemplified by the Not in My Village campaign, aimed at preventing adulterous pregnancies and child marriages in collaboration with the traditional leaders, which continues to gain traction as I speak. The government of Zimbabwe is dedicated to fostering a safe, inclusive, and supportive government environment for every child by strengthening the connection between schools and the broader community to combat violence against the children. By creating safe spaces in households, schools, and communities, these early warning systems enhance linkages between family, school, and the community systems, ensuring a comprehensive continuum of care for our children. Further to that, Government has strengthened the victim-friendly unit as specialized section responsible for investigating crimes against women and children, particularly gender-based violence. While this presents our achievements, we remain mindful of persistent and emerging challenges that threaten children's rights and well-being, which we are striving to address. For instance, drug and substance abuse by the youth, including children, is one of the most pressing existential threats to our nation's future. The government remains committed to strengthening prevention, protection, treatment, and reintegration interventions through a coordinated child protection system that leaves no child behind. We must intensify early identification, prevention efforts within families, schools, and communities among the children so that they do not fall into this vice, while ensuring that those affected by the drug and substance abuse have timely access to quality treatment, psychosocial support, rehabilitation services, and opportunities for successful reintegration into society once again. Equally concerning is the evolution of technology. And with additional platforms becoming integral to learning, new risks have emerged, such as online abuse and exposure to harmful content, where new threats have emerged, placing children at increased risk of online exploitation. In response, Cabinet recently approved the National Child Online Protection Policy to guide efforts by various ministries, departments, and agencies in preventing and safeguarding children from digital risks like cyberbullying, sextortion, and online abuse. Additionally, the Zimbabwe Republic Police Victim-Friendly Unit, in collaboration with Interpol, introduced a special office responsible for investigating online sexual abuse and exploitation. This office is manned by technical officers who receive specialized training in investigations of online child abuse and exploitation, and Victim Identification Task Force Africa. Regarding education, our Education Act 2504 provides for education as a fundamental right for all children in Zimbabwe. It further guarantees the right to free basic education and prohibits discrimination based on gender, disability, or socioeconomic status. In this regard, vulnerable children from indigent backgrounds are catered for through the Basic Education Assistance Module, commonly known as BEAM. More importantly, the domestic thrust towards quality education has ushered in the implementation of the heritage-based curriculum in all schools in our country, anchored on strengthening skills, knowledge, and attitudes that can lean on its heritage and cultural values. As a result of these efforts, the nation has registered significant progress on increased access to basic education, as evidenced by over 90% of school-aged children enrolled in schools, with notable gains in early childhood development up to secondary school enrollment. Strengthening and advancing the girls' education through the Keeping Girls in School initiative, especially the secondary schools, has registered a reduction in dropout rates among adolescents, girls, particularly those from marginalized communities. Fellow Zimbabweans, I ask you to join me in reaffirming a simple, urgent truth, and that is, every child in our nation matters equally, and children with disability deserve equal treatment and enjoyment of their inalienable rights. Accordingly, I commit the government to turn towards the compassion, to contend to. Additionally, I commit this government to turn words into compassion, into concrete, measurable change by expanding inclusive quality education with trained teachers, accessible learning materials, and reasonable accommodation, scaling up early identification, affordable health care, and community-based rehabilitation in both urban and rural areas. We also promise to strengthen social protection through targeted cash transfers, disability grants, and caregiver support, accelerating implementation and enforcement of laws and international commitments that protect the rights of the persons with disabilities, investing in accessible public infrastructure, transport, schools, and assistive technologies, and working hand in hand with families, traditional and religious leaders, community organizations of persons with a disability, disability-led groups, with society, private sector, and development partners to combat stigma associated with this, and also mobilize resources and scale up innovative solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, for too long, the sight of children in hazardous working conditions, particularly in informal sectors, has been a stain in our action plan and has been a stain in our conscience and a barrier to our development. The National Action Plan, therefore, provides a concrete roadmap, resources, and accountability mechanisms necessary to translate our legal framework into tangible protection. It reaffirms that childhood is a time of learning, or a time for learning, a time for play, and a time for growth, not for labor that steals their health, education, and dignity. We are united in the resolve that no child in Zimbabwe shall be left behind or forced to bear the economic burdens of childhood of adulthood before they are ready. On the same note, government has revitalized the Labor Administration Department through the establishment of a fully fledged Labor Inspectorate Department aimed at strengthening labor law enforcement and ensuring compliance with the decent work principles. Furthermore, the amendment of labor legislation to increase penalties for perpetrators of child labor from 2 years to 10 years of imprisonment represents a significant policy shift towards deterring and combating child labor. The development of the National Child Labor Framework, together with the establishment of a national hazardous work list, marks a critical milestone towards creating a new era where every Zimbabwean child is protected, educated, and empowered to reach their full potential. The high-level policy dialogue on child protection financing indeed highlighted the need for a greater allocation of funds for child protection, prevention, and responsive initiatives. It also complements government's priorities towards child-friendly budgeting processes. The deliberations have not fallen on deaf ears, but will be considered with the urgency they deserve. While recommendations from various panel discussions shared during this conference will be followed up with relevant actors to ensure that we walk the talk and the deliberations do not die a natural death. Indeed, the need for strengthened and deliberate public-private partnerships has never been clearer than now. At a time where donor support has dwindled, it is up to us as a nation to look inward and invest in our children by strengthening public sector financing for children and fostering partnership with the development partners and the private sector. Today we gather here to witness the government's unwavering commitment to ending violence against children in all its forms through the launch of the costed National Action Plan for Children #4. This plan incorporates evidence-based strategies to tackle critical issues such as child labor, online violence, and commercial sexual exploitation. This effort is complemented by a development of a multi-sectoral prevention and response strategy for adolescent pregnancy. As I launch the National Action Plan for Children #4, that is 2026-2030, and the National Child Online Protection Policy, I look forward to their significant contribution in addressing the diverse and complex needs of the children in Zimbabwe, particularly emerging child protection concerns such as child labor and child online violence, born out of unforeseeable consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm confident that these policies will serve as urgent, comprehensive, and adaptable overarching framework to address the evolving needs of our children in Zimbabwe. I am also confident that this framework will rectify the shortcomings of the predecessor plan and encompasses a broader range of interventions that would effectively mitigate the impacts of hazard on children's lives. The success of this action, the National Action Plan, will not be measured by the commitments we make today, but by the transformation we witness tomorrow, like empty mine shafts, deserted streets, safe fields, and classrooms filled with children pursuing their education and their dreams. Yes, that's what it should be. It should actually get our streets out, the children out of the streets, get our children out of the mine shafts, and then make sure that our classrooms are filled. However, policy alone does not overcome deep-rooted cultural challenges. It requires a whole-of-society approach driven by sustained commitment, collaboration, and collective action from every sector of our society. That's the only way we can succeed. Looking ahead, we will continue to set clear targets, publish progress reports, so that our citizens can hold us accountable for what we promise. To our development partners, civil society organizations, traditional leaders, communities, and all stakeholders, I call upon you to work hand in hand with government structures to ensure that this national action plan is effectively implemented with urgency, accountability, and precision, reaching children and families at grassroots level. As I close, let me reiterate that the government of Zimbabwe stands in full support of the National Action Plan for Children and the Child Online Protection Policy, and will work organically to ensure that the success of the two policies or the two documents succeed. My government stands ready to work together with regional lead partners, civil society, and international organizations to ensure that every child, regardless of where this child is, enjoys their full rights and lives in a dignified and safe environment. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, with these few remarks, I have the distinct pleasure to officially launch the National Action Plan for Children number 4, 2026 to 2030, and the Child Online Protection Policy officially launched. God bless you all. God bless Zimbabwe. God bless everyone. I thank you.
As I taught you earlier, when I say 1, 2, 3, the men shall say da, and the ladies shall say ah. 1, 2, 3. We thank you, Honorable Vice President. I think before you sit down, may I invite you to go down and officially launch the two, with the podium party, of course, to flank him. We'll start with the national plan. Then we go to the online protection policy. Chargé d'Affaires, please go with the VP. Honorable Minister, I think we will forgive you due to the steps. So, the Honorable Vice President is going to launch our draft policy first by cutting the ribbon, and then the child online policy after that. Ladies and gentlemen, the launch of the national policy that we have worked so hard to produce is ending. Thank you to our guest of honor. Please proceed to the child online policy. We need to protect the children from the online activities, as you know, Honorable Vice President. Ladies and gentlemen, the launch of our child online protection policy. Thank you, Honorable Vice President. You may resume your seat. Kule photo shoot. Okay. I think okay, I'm told there are some young people coming in to be part of the photo shoot. Let's take some photos. Honorable ministers, the children are there. So, right, the next picture. All right, photographers. Show me if you are done. Is there another one? I think you need UNICEF, the Swedish Embassy, the acting PS from the ministry, PS Duve, the deputy chief. Please, Sondela. Right? This is the last picture, right? Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Vice President. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Ezandleni. One, two, three, da. Kaliyakhohlwa futhi. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister Moyo said a few things. May we take our seats? Said a few truths that I didn't want to say myself. Number one, he said, founders. Hey, but are you from Founders? Answer this loudly. Truth is, Honorable Vice President, I can testify that they are from Founders. If they'd got that motto wrong, then they would be liars. Then the second thing he said was that I was designated by the Vice President as the best MC, Mandlamini Valindlewe, the best MC in the Southern region. And that is true. That was 4 years ago. I'm telling Chinese hand. Honorable Vice President, the Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare has assured me that in the interest of time, he will pass our token of appreciation to you in your office on Monday, so that we save on time. I know there are other presidents that were coming our way. Now I'm not sure how to handle this, but I think these are Honorable Puti, please lead. Dr. Dube, Hotani Fahla Fahla. Honorable Puti is going to say something about the computers.
Honorable Vice President, I'm very aware of your pressing schedule and that we are pressed for time. But let me take the honor of having been allowed to present to you what comes from the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services. These are 40 laptops that you are going to give to 4 schools of your choice, Honorable Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Puti. There is 40 computers, 10 per school, 4 schools. The Vice President will choose. I don't know what happens to those that know how to sing the national choir, but I won't say anything. It's an open secret, Honorable Minister. I see my minister laughing that the PS, the best MC in the Southern region, is an old foundarian. Yes. It is my honor now, Honorable Vice President, to call upon Honorable Deputy Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Mazungunye, to come and propose a vote of thanks. Ezandleni.
Thank you so much, the Director of Ceremonies. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of our Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Colonel retired Dr. KCD Mohadi, the Minister of Public Service, Labor and Child Welfare, Honorable E. Moyo, the State Minister, Bulawayo Province, Honorable J. Ngube. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to ride on protocol already observed. It is my distinct honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks as we draw this successful National Child Protection Conference to a close. Over the past few days, we have engaged in meaningful dialogue. We have also shared valuable experiences and reaffirmed our collective commitment to strengthening child protection systems in Zimbabwe. This conference has demonstrated that safeguarding children is a shared national responsibility that requires sustained collaboration across government, parliament, the judiciary, development partners, civil society, communities, and also families. Ladies and gentlemen, we extend our sincere gratitude to the Vice President of Zimbabwe, our guest of honor today, for gracing this conference with his presence despite his busy schedule, which is a firm reaffirmation of the government's commitment to advancing child protection and as well as well-being of all children in Zimbabwe. Again, we want to thank our Honorable Vice President for also launching the National Action Plan for Children and the National Child Online Protection Policy, which marks another significant milestone in Zimbabwe's child protection journey. These important policy instruments reflect the government's unwavering commitment to safeguarding the rights, welfare, well-being of every child, while at the same time ensuring that children grow up in environments that are safe, nurturing, inclusive, and conducive to the holistic development. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to thank the Minister of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare, Honorable Moyo, and his team for successfully organizing this conference. We also acknowledge and thank government institutions, the judiciary, parliament, constitutional commissions, UNICEF, UN agencies, our development partners, civil society organizations, the private sector, the academia. We also thank faith-based organizations and community leaders, and also our political leaders for the support. And also, we thank all the stakeholders for their continued collaboration in strengthening child protection systems. Ladies and gentlemen, special appreciation is extended to development partners and cooperating agencies for their ongoing technical and financial support, as well as to the organizing committee, technical teams, rapporteurs, moderators. We also thank the presenters and support staff whose dedication and professionalism contributed to the success of this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, as the conference concludes, participants are encouraged to sustain the momentum generated by translating discussions into concrete actions, measurable results, and also strengthened partnerships. The success of the conference will untimely be reflected in the positive impact achieved in the lives of the Zimbabwean children. And on behalf of the organizers, I extend my sincere gratitude to each one of you for your active participation, for your valuable contribution, and your unwavering commitment to advancing child protection in Zimbabwe. And on that note, I thank you, Tatenda, Siyabonga, Nda.
Thank you. Can we thank the Honorable Deputy Minister for those words? Thank you very much. By the powers vested in me by the Honorable Vice President, it is now my singular honor and privilege to actually invite him to depart. Siyabonga Baba, the two policies you launched today are critical to your passion to protect the children, protecting them online, protecting them in their daily lives. We invite you to take, as he departs, may we also rise. Sit Tina, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Ezandlin. TJ fucking ngoma yokugida wena. Sifuna ukugida lapha. I'm watching the Foundarians. Put something fast. Yeah, something fast. As we celebrate these two national policies. Can you put in the clave in TJ? No, I'm coming. Chaingoma TJ.
All right, just a quick announcement as well around our lunch. I've just been informed that we are having our lunch right at the same spot where we've been having our lunch. That is Hall 1. Please collect your tickets as you depart by the gate or by the door. Otherwise, thank you everyone for your attention, and can we clap hands for ourselves, please? It has been a long 3 days, long 4 days. Those that are traveling, please travel back safely. Thank you. Another quick announcement. All panelists and presenters, can you please remain? There are gift bags for you. All panelists and presenters, please remain. There are gift bags for you.
Ndinonyura ndakatemba kune nzeve kumatema kune chiyero chinoera kunofumuka vane rusero musareka vachinditsimira chiedza upenyu hwangu uchipenda muchiona ndinonyura nzeve kumatenga kune chiyero chinoera kunofumuka vane rusero